Have you ever pushed through a season on pure willpower? Early mornings, late nights, grinding, producing and executing, and you told yourself, man, this is just temporary. I could do this for now. I know I need to rest, but I'll rest later. And then later never came. And somewhere along the way, you stopped feeling sharp. You stopped feeling present. You stopped feeling like yourself. Not because you weren't capable, because you were depleted. You weren't tired because you worked hard. You were tired because you never replenished. This is part 4 of our energy management series, and that's the shift we're talking about today. Transformation isn't from lazy to disciplined. It's from survival mode to sustainable momentum. Because energy must be replenished, not just protected. And rest is not a reward. It's a requirement. We've been sold this phrase, work-life balance, as if work is separate from life. But the truth is it's not. Work is a part of our lives. Family is a part of our lives. Health is a part of our lives. Relationships, they're a part of our lives. Faith and rest are a part of life. So the real goal isn't work-life balance, it's life balance. Because when work consumes everything, you don't become successful, you actually become fragile. And the dangerous part is there's an unspoken competition in our culture. Who slept less? Team no sleep. Who worked longer? I just pulled 90 hours last week. Who answered emails at midnight with their computer on their stomach? Who hasn't taken a vacation in 10 years? And what's crazy is we call that commitment. But often it is insecurity wherein productivity's clothes. And somewhere along the way, exhaustion has become a status symbol. And if I'm honest with you, one of the greatest limiting beliefs I had to overcome was the thought that if I'm not straining, I'm not gaining. But fatigue isn't proof of importance. It's actually proof of imbalance. And if rest makes you anxious, you don't have a schedule problem, you have an identity problem. Most people started working hard for one reason: freedom. Financial freedom, time freedom, creative freedom. But over time, they overcommit, they overextend, and they overpromise. And slowly, the very thing they built for freedom becomes the thing that imprisons them. Let me tell you about a founder I once worked with. Dude was brilliant, disciplined, and driven. He built a company from nothing, but he couldn't take a vacation. Every decision had to go through him. Every client depended on him. Every fire required him to come put it out. He didn't build a business, he built a dependency. And when he finally stepped away for a week, everything stalled. Not because his team wasn't capable, but because he never let them be. And what I'm about to say is for you. If your success collapses when you rest, you didn't build something scalable. You built something fragile. If success cost you your health, your relationships, your peace, that's not success, that's mismanagement. Imagine someone deposits $86,400 into your bank account every single day. Somebody said, "Yes, Lord, please. I've seen what you've done for others, Lord." So you get the $86,400 in your bank account, and you can spend it however you want. It hits in the morning, it's waiting on you, but at midnight, whatever you don't spend disappears. There's no rollover, there's no savings, there's no carrying it forward. I bet you'd be intentional, strategic, and focused. But here's the reality. You already have that account. Every morning you wake up, God puts in your bank account 86,400 seconds. And at midnight, whatever you don't use is gone. You don't get to keep the unused time. You don't get to keep the abused energy. Energy management is not about squeezing the most that you can out of that 86,400 seconds. It's about stewarding it wisely. So when we're talking about stewarding it wisely, one of the first areas we have to cover is people. Boundaries train people how to treat you. Boundaries are not explanations, they are demonstrations. You don't teach people how to treat you through speeches. You don't treat people how to teach you through nagging them. You teach them with consistency. So let's talk practically. If you answer emails at 11:30 p.m., you train people to expect access. If you cancel family time for one more thing, you train people that your priorities are non-negotiable. Boundaries train people how to treat you. And when you enforce them calmly and consistently, you don't lose respect. You gain clarity. And saying no is not a rejection, it's self-leadership. Every yes costs you energy, and you get to decide where the energy is best invested. Another thing to consider is many are exhausted because they are doing things that they were never meant to carry alone. Delegation isn't weakness, it's multiplication. But let's be honest, sometimes we don't want to delegate. And we don't want to delegate because we don't trust. We don't want to delegate because we need control. Or maybe we don't want to delegate because our identity is tied to being needed. Oh, no, he didn't. Control is often fear disguised as excellence. And I want you to hear me. If you're the bottleneck, you're also the ceiling, and ceilings limit growth. So if you're a leader of a team and you're watching this and your team can't function without you, don't wear that as a badge of honor because you're not leading. You're hoarding responsibility. Anyone with sustainability in life builds systems that don't collapse when they rest. Rest is not what you earn after burnout. Rest is what prevents burnout. If it's not scheduled, it won't happen. So you might need to get to the point, especially if you don't have this habit already ingrained in you, where you schedule your workouts, you schedule your downtime, you schedule your vacations. Maybe even need to schedule time with people that refill you. Schedule solitude, schedule silence, because what gets scheduled tends to get protected. Professional athletes understand this. They don't train nonstop, they train hard, yes, but then they recover, because recovery is where strength is built. So why would your life be any different? You cannot run at full speed forever. You're not a machine, you're a human being. And it's ultimately our goal to move from survival to sustainability. Survival mode says just push through. Sustainability says build rhythm. Survival mode is reactive. Sustainability is intentional. Survival mode burns hot and fast. Sustainability builds steady and strong. You don't win by sprinting for a week. You win by building something that lasts decades. And yes, intensity might impress people, but it is longevity that'll ultimately impact them. So the goal is not to burn bright, it's to burn long. There was a lumberjack known for cutting more trees than anyone else in the region. He was the Michael Jordan of cutting down trees. Notice I ain't say LeBron, but let's move on. Every morning, he was the first in the forest. Every evening, he was the last to leave. He swung harder and longer and with more intensity than anyone else. And for a while, he outperformed everyone until one season, he started slowing down. He was working the same hours and he was putting forth the same effort, but the trees weren't falling like they used to. Another lumberjack, quieter, less flashy, began surpassing him. This frustrated him. How are you cutting more than me? You weren't here at sunrise, and you didn't stay after sunset. In fact, I never see you working as long as I do. The second lumberjack looked at him and smiled and responded, "Yeah, you're right. I stop several times a day." The first one scoffed. "That's the difference? I don't stop." Second one replied, "Yeah, I stop several times a day. I stop to sharpen my axe." He continued, "When I swing, it costs energy. And if I never sharpen the blade, every swing requires more focus, more strain, and more effort. Eventually, I'm exhausted and the tree is still standing." Then he said something powerful to Jordan Lumberjack. "You know what, Jordan Lumberjack, I had to learn that rest isn't stopping the work. It's preparing for it." And that's what most people miss. They think rest is weakness. They think recovery is laziness. They think slowing down is falling behind. And I've been guilty of that myself. But the truth that I had to come to, that you're going to have to come to as well, is swinging a dull axe is not commitment. want. It's inefficiency. And there's someone watching me that's been swinging hard for years, grinding, producing, providing, and leading, but you haven't sharpened the blade in a long time. No rhythm, no renewal, no intentional recovery. And now every swing costs more than it should. You're not tired because you lack discipline. You're tired because you never stopped to restore. Sustainability isn't about doing less. It's about doing it sharper. Sharper focus, sharper clarity, sharper capacity. The lumberjack who pauses to sharpen isn't behind. He's preparing to win long term. And the goal isn't to be the most intense person in the forest for a season. The goal is to still be standing, strong, steady, and effective years from now. So build rhythm and protect your edge. Schedule your restoration, because the ones who last aren't the ones that swing the hardest. They're the ones who sharpen consistently. If you enjoyed that video, put in the comments, I'm sharpening my axe. And always remember that growth is a journey. It's not a destination. I'm in it with you. And I'll see you on the next one.